Hello and welcome. My name is Tom Davis, and this is round 4 of Tier 4 in the Delta Motor Racing Leagues. This week, we are at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas. This track features inspiration from across the world. The first sector draws from Maggots and Beckett's at Silverstone, whilst turns 12 to 15 give a nod to Hockenheim's Stadium section. And of course, the complex, the triple right at 16, 17, and 18 imitate the infamous turn number 8 at Istanbul Park. With plenty of overtaking opportunities, expect a fair amount of on-track action that could really shake up the standings this week. In the drivers, it's Itax who leads the way, but new boy Furion is hot off a win and is closing him down. The constructors, meanwhile, is ridiculously close. Racing Point need just 1 point to catch Ferrari at the top, whilst third all the way through to 7th are separated by just 13 points. It could not be tighter. As ever, I am joined in the combox by the sensational Edwin. How are you doing, and what are you looking forward to?
Hello everyone, I'm doing great. I'm honestly looking forward to see if Furion could win 2 in a row after just joining the league. I think that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, that'd be pretty wild. Got a little bit fortunate last time as well. Itax got involved in a battle that they really didn't need to and cost themselves dearly.
I think though, has Itax not moved on to like the higher tiers?
Yes, so Itax is not a permanent driver here as such. They'll fill in wherever possible to try and defend the lead, but other people will be given priority over.
Yeah, I think it's a tier 1 driver.
Yeah, Itax has progressed up the way as such within the Delta Motor Racing setup.
Yeah, okay. Well, the first guy to cross the line is gonna be Whiskey, and he's gonna set the lap to see where.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Whiskey can end up as they turn through turn number 1. Uphill braking zone, you can brake super late and then you're instantly descending once more. Gotta watch that the rear end doesn't slide out from you through the long right-hander at 2, and then you're flat through here, still flat, and he's instantly gone deep, and that's going to be an aborted lap, you'd anticipate.
Yeah, so it's not the lap that other people will aim for.
Yeah, it was a little bit in the middle of the track in entry to turn 3, and you need to really have the rhythm the whole way through sector 1, else that's exactly what happens.
So, the man himself, Furion, is currently on an outlap right now.
Yeah,
it's
so
not quite at the finish line yet though.
We're right on board with Furion for sure, just getting out of the way of one of the Renaults there. Furion, as we mentioned, only joined the league for the round in Sochi, but instantly picked up a win, and that gives him 25 points in the race for the title. Just ahead of him, he's got Jedla on 33, Alex Priest on 35, and Itax on 44. Of note, all of those drivers are reserve drivers. They're all technically racing in the upper tiers, so Furion, can string together a few good results, could really easily close that gap.
Yeah, that's almost kind of awkward actually, because it makes sense for the reserve drivers to be doing very well since they're from higher tiers.
Yeah, so it's really played into Furion's hands here. We know he's very quick, myself and Edwin, of course. We've seen him in a couple different leagues as Bloth leaves the session. Whiskey sets the fastest time, sets the first time notably, and then instantly drops behind as a result of the mistake in the aborted lap. As far as times that the drivers are looking for, the fastest lap here is set by Lewis Hamilton in 2018. That was a 1:32.2. So anything in that sort of range, the 1:32s, 1:33s, is looking pretty quick for these guys.
Yes, Furion's soon gonna come around the last corner. He's just trying to stay away from as many drivers as possible to not interrupt anyone's lap.
Yeah, you don't want a repeat of qualifying in 2019, as he gets a really nice exit pronto on the power onto the main straight, the pit straight if you will, braking up the hill just as the blackboard on your right disappears out of view. Really nice on apex. You don't want to take too much inside curve because it can unsettle the car on acceleration, but you can take enough to really open up the line. Kick off curb on the inside, and then you lift through turn 5. Now accelerating again, you'll change down to 4th gear as it just continues to curve round and round. This is the important one. We saw guys spinning here in the no assists. He hasn't done that as you accelerate down towards turn number 11. Brake, really important here. You need to get it stopped so you can be on the power as quickly as possible, because this is a huge back straight here. Over 1 kilometer the McLaren driver is going to be flat out for. Because you can already begin to see the braking spot. You see the curb come along, you see the 100-meter board, and then you slam onto that left-hand pedal. This is the section inspired by the Hockenheim Stadium part, as you then try and straight line it through here to get the maximum traction. He's going to get held up here massively by the Ferrari, and that's not done his lap any good. If it's any consolation, though, he will get a toe through this Istanbul-inspired triple right-hander. Keeps it over to the right, and that's really important to give you the best possible line into the penultimate corner. You're flat and trying to break into the final one, but he's going to abort because he did get massively held up by the Ferrari there.
Yeah, but I still think, I mean, 2 purple sectors. I don't think he lost enough time to not get P1 there.
It was a lot of time. It was looking like potentially 3 or 4 tenths he lost there, because not only was he obviously wide through turn number 15, he was not straight lining it between 14 and 15, so it really does mount up.
Yeah, I still think he should have gone for it, but clearly he wasn't happy with the lap and wanted to abort it. But 2 purple sectors suggest that he will most likely get a really quick lap next time he tries, so Sverren is not looking like he's gonna slack off this race either.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the guys to watch, to say the least. He's crucially, in his previous kind of eSports F1 2019 career as such, he's being consistent, and that's the most brutal part. If he doesn't win the race, he'll really often be second or third. It's really hard to get a big point set on.
Yeah, the handicap right now, who is one of the few medium runners here, we see him quite often on the mediums, don't we?
Yeah, we've said this before. The Toro Rosso guys, they always want to start on the harder tire, and it does tend to be the faster race strategy. Of course, the penalty for this is that you end up further down the grid as far as starting the race is concerned. So you have to cut through the traffic. But the Toro Rosso guys, they're sticking to their strategy, because you can see his teammate Bloth also out on a set of mediums right now doing an outlap. So we'll see where Handicap loses the time as such as he comes through the final corner. Less aggressive as far as the line taken than Furion, but it was still nice and smooth, nice and quickly onto the power. Where is he going to break up the hill a little bit earlier than the soft runners? But it's tidy, it's clean, and that's what you need to do with these medium tires. You can't afford to carry too much speed, because that's when they'll stop gripping. That's when you'll get the hit of understeer, and when that happens, it's all downhill. Pretty smooth through the Maggots Beckett's Chapel inspired complex there. So, you know, curve through the left-hander. This is the first time you're really on the brakes. You then accelerate. You need to keep the car in a nice high gear here. The esports guys, notably, I did get the chance to see what they were doing. They're often holding 5th through turns 8 and 9 rather than changing down to 3rd or 4th. Just to keep the car stable, and that doesn't look to have invalidated his lap despite the massive amount of curb taking, which is unusual. So I might have a little bit of a graphics error as such, but we'll stay on board. He's still flooring it on the run down to turn 12. Downhill braking zone, really, really easy to lock the inside wheels there. They just get unloaded both down the hill and as all the weight tilts towards the right-hand side. Handicap not quite straight lining it, decides to go with the flow of the corners through 14 and 15. Now he accelerates. You need to get close to the apex. He hits the second one. He's going to be wide of the third one. He'll pull it across, however, get it turned in nice and early. You can take a huge amount of curb at the left-hander. The solid curb really won't hurt you, and it's such a short one. You can straddle the curb without breaking track limits there. What is it as he comes across the line? Got a little bit of a straight until he gets there, and it was
he
definitely
did invalidate
invalidated.
it. Yeah, I figured. But why did he... I mean, I guess he wanted to finish lap as if it was a real lap, just to practice it, I guess.
Yeah, the other option, of course, is that the medium tires do hold on a lot better than the softs, and you can probably get 2 flying laps out of them. For him, it's just a case of, you know, keeping the temperature in those tires. So just completing a practice lap, making sure you've got your eye on the track, probably won't harm this next attempt.
No, I definitely don't think so. But I was gonna ask, do you often mix up Racing Point and Force India?
Do I often mix up Racing Point and Force India?
Yeah.
No, did I do it?
No, but I was thinking because Toro Rosso is gonna change to Alpha Tauri, right?
Yes, I think that's what I'm gonna make a mistake with for sure. Racing Point and Force India, I've got it wrong before, but I don't really associate the pink livery with Force India. When I think of Force India, you think of like the oranges and the greens and then added the white
Yeah.
or the black undertone. So for me, the pink does feel like Racing Point.
Yeah,
Especially with the
I
pink
agree.
Mercedes thing now. As Furion tops the timing screens. He's topped it by a long way as well.
I didn't even notice that he went out. I thought he was still in the pit.
No, he came round pretty quickly, I think, and has
But surely then...
1.5 seconds faster.
Yeah, surely then he could have finished the last lap as well. And he would have been fine.
He probably would have been fine. Furion's teammate in the McLaren, John, is gonna come second. He's a long way off of Furion, but that's looking like a solid points finish for McLaren. McLaren tied for third in the Constructors and are only 8 points off second, 9 points off first, so they're definitely in the hunt here.
Yeah, that's really cool to see because, you know, I always think it's fun when in you know, the virtual world of F1 we see teams that usually aren't high up on the grid being high up on the grid, and I think that's always more fun.
Yeah, for me, I love it when you see an Alpha lapping up near the top of the timing screens. I think just saying the name Alfa Romeo fighting for the lead, it just feels right because it is such a classic brand.
Yeah, and they have probably the nicest livery in my opinion. I don't know why I just like it.
Oh, that's a brave call. That's a brave call. What do you think of the new Williams livery? It's a bit like a Colgate.
Yeah, I literally cannot think of anything else whenever I see it.
Yeah, that one's a little bit weird.
It's nice.
I like the red hat on the Mercedes though. I think that's a nice way.
I think that for some reason that makes me uncomfortable. Like
you don't like the hat?
No, I think it's like I like why they have it, but it just seems so out of place. It just makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, that's fair. I quite like it. I also like when they had the red halos. I think that fit in quite well with their livery. They ran the red halos at Monaco, of course, to pay tribute to Niki Lauda. But
exactly.
Yeah, I liked the red halos, and I would have actually quite liked to see that become a constant livery. As far as guys on outlaps, you've got Danny Landfear in 5th position. He's currently a little bit off the pace, as Furion is not leading by quite so much now. Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari puts in a very solid lap to split the McLaren. So still 4/10 off of Furion, which is a lot of time to find. But I think you'd be pretty happy starting on the front row here.
Yeah, I mean, of course you would be. And the Ferrari as well, so that's something we are used to seeing.
Yeah.
Not maybe as much now, considering the Racing Points are looking like it's gonna be faster than ever, and both Red Bull and Mercedes are looking quicker than Ferrari this upcoming season.
Yeah, but we've seen it time and time again, haven't we? We go, oh, Mercedes aren't going to be quick this year, and then they dominate. So I wouldn't put it past Ferrari. I think Ferrari's troubles are a bit more real than we've seen from some of the other teams, but of course they've got time to figure it out. They think it's the gearbox at Ferrari that might be holding them back as such, and I'm sure they'll find a way to fix that. They're not Ferrari for nothing.
Exactly. I must say though, I think that as I said before, I think Alfa Romeo has a nice livery, which most people probably disagree with. But if we compare this new livery with Williams' old livery, I definitely think that the older one is better.
Yeah, this Williams livery is really nice. And you get a good look at it here as Danny begins his lap, ascending into turn 1. It's completely blind as you go up the hill. You have no idea what's going to be there until you get there, which is why it's such a hot spot come lap number 1. Stays well clear of the McLaren through turn number 2 and through 3, 4, 5, and now 6. Before I can even say the numbers, a little bit wider than you would want to be through 7, but 8 is really nice and clean. On the power, very, very smoothly out of 9. There's 10, not really a corner, and this is the important one, breaking into 11. It's down the hill. You got to be careful, and it was really, really clean and tidy from Danny Landfear there. The DRS will pop open now, and you'll get all that additional straight line speed down here. It's not actually quite straight, this one, so be careful come the race, because you can just edge them over a little bit come the second half of that straight. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the drivers using that to their advantage to try and make an overtake. Accelerating now through 13. That's 14. Here is 15. It comes all the way around. You got to just keep on turning through the left-hander. Accelerating now. How close is he? Gets it really, really nice and tidy through the triple right into the left, not taking too much curb either. I think all the drivers could take a little bit more there. How's the braking for the final one? This is important. You need to use all the curb on exit. He's not done it, so you'll be compromised a little bit. And fourth position, it's good, but it's not quite a cigar.
Yeah, but he did go up by 2 positions though, so I think he's gonna be happy with that. Even though it's not P1, I mean, it's an improvement, and you know, that's better than nothing.
It's quite reasonable, to say the least. Of course, you want to start, you want to make sure that you're out with the shenanigans that you often see with a hairpin being turn number 1. And I think the first 2 rows might just avoid anything that goes on. So the first 2 rows, that's where you want to be. The moment you get to row number 3, positions 5 and 6, that's where you're in danger of getting caught up in something that you really don't want to be caught up in.
Yeah, and we do have Charles Leclerc here on a outlap here, and Furian, so they're both trying to improve their times, make sure that no one will be able to overtake their times towards the end there.
Yeah, it's getting tighter and tighter at the top throughout this session. Of course, initially Furian leading by 1.5 seconds. Now he's only got the half second over Charles. But then Charles himself, he's only got a little bit over Danny, and Danny, it's unlikely he gets another lap in here. But John, the McLaren teammate, certainly could, as could Hosman and Davey Lee TV. So they're not safe yet, are the top 2.
Wait, do you see the game P3 or is it glitched again?
The guy in P3, I believe, has left the session or retired. He's happy with his lap, or he's had a connection issue.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. Because you didn't mention him, so I thought it glitched, but that's good. So we have Bog in P3.
Yeah, Bog is in P3, but will not be attempting to improve the lap as Charles ascends into turn number 1. The racing point getting nicely out of the way. So, good, clean racing from these guys. No such slipping as Furian goes even quicker.
Not by much though, but
not by much.
Something.
Improves by about half a tenth, which you only need to be on pole by half a tenth. And seeing Furian, because obviously it pops up for these guys, they get fastest lap set by Furian on their screens as they're driving. That's just going to be demoralizing for the Ferrari man as he descends, brakes really late into turn 11. Gets his stop though, turned in on the power, use some curb, but not so much that you unsettle the rear end of the car. DRS pops open up into top gear now, underneath the banner. Start coming down the hill. Don't lock up the tires. Don't lock up the brakes. He's done that. Keeps it clean. You don't want to touch that outside curb because it just spins up your wheels. Now then, what's the power like through here? How aggressive is he going to be? And it's a really, really flowing, quick line that he takes. He's all about maintaining the momentum, carrying the speed. A lot of curb through the triple rights, where of course Max Verstappen took too much and had a podium stripped of him just a couple years ago. He's going to be hugely wide out the penultimate corner. That could potentially invalidate a lap if he's not careful. He might have also been held up by the Williams. It could all be falling apart. He completes it, and he's not closer to Furian.
Yeah, he didn't even improve on his lap. Or maybe he did by like half a tenth, but
I
definitely
think he
not by much.
by 1,000.
Yeah, no, he did
on
actually.
the end of the lap, which is
he did.
pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, it's an improvement, but it won't make a difference at all. But P2, it's still front row. You can still be very happy about that.
Yeah, and the rest of the grid seems pretty set. All the guys are either not lapping, or they are retired, or they're in the pits. So their grid for the race will be Furian on pole for McLaren. Charles Leclerc, hoping to maintain Ferrari's lead in the constructors, will complete the front row. Then you'll have ASR, Bog, and Danny Lanfear on the second. And running out your front 3 rows, John and Cosman. It's going to be... I'm expecting a good race here. I was a bit worried when Furian went 1.5 seconds quicker, I won't lie. I got a bit worried that we were going to have complete domination, but half a second quicker over a lap, that'll disappear.
Yeah, definitely, and I mean, behind him, it's really, really close. Only a few tenths between, I'm not barely even tenths between some of the people right behind him, so...
Yeah, you got a 132.2 for Bog, a 132.2 for Danny, a 132.5 for John, another 132.5 for Cosman and for Miko Hu. Then you get into the 132.6s for 8th and 9th, and then you got a slow kind of diminuendo of times as such. They just get slower and slower from that point onwards, but it's marginal gains across the field, isn't
I
it?
wonder what happened to Bloth though, because he just left and rejoined.
I think he's been having some connection issues. He restarted the game at one point, so something's not working at his end as far as the computer or the internet connections.
At least he gets to start on his medium tires that he wanted to start on, so...
Yeah, for sure. So, I got a question for you, Edwin.
Yeah.
Who do you think has the race lap record here at COTA?
Not like in qualifying lap record, just race.
Just in the race, during the actual race itself, who's got fastest lap?
Nico Rosberg, maybe. Probably
Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, because this track is very new, isn't it?
Yeah, can you guess the year?
Last year.
2012.
2012.
Sebastian Vettel for Red Bull.
Yeah. Damn, I'm making a fool out of myself here.
And it's interesting because this lap actually, it feels like a long lap because it's got 20 corners in it. But it's actually pretty average in terms of overall length. I was going to say only 5.5 kilometers, but 5.5 kilometers, it's not overly long in terms of F1. 3.4 miles for anyone who prefers that to visualize it. It's not a massive lap, but it's one that contains a lot of things.
Yeah, definitely. It's like they really try to make every single sector of the whole track as entertaining as possible, with as many things as possible.
Yeah, every single corner counts, and there's no like throwaway corners that you can get away with, and I think that's one of the big kind of draws of this track is everything that you do is going to matter come the end of the lap. Even through turn 10, which is flat, if you're a little bit wide of apex, you'll be off the track. It's not an easy corner.
The opposite of Baku, because Baku is mainly known for its long straights. This is mainly known for like super sharp and weird corners all over the track.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard one. So as the drivers pull away onto their formation lap,
this is
Evan, who's going to win the race?
Furian.
And can you complete the top three? You got a podium for us?
Yeah, listen. Cosmin, Bog, and Furian. I think. I think people will lose positions. I think it's going to be close in the top.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very interesting. If you take a look at the standings, you look at Cosmin in 5th, he's got 20 points. And then you go down to Bog in 11th, Bog has 15 points. So all of this could change. If Bog wins, Cosmin could come 2nd, and they'd still be tied on points. I believe Bog would go in front because they have a win.
But wait a second there.
No, not a foregone conclusion.
How many points does DJ Mario have?
Oh, you want to know about your favorite? You want to know about Mario himself? I don't know.
Does he even have points?
Oh, hang on. He might be this guy. Of course, some of the guys have different names between. I got Mario's is on 2 points.
2 points. That's 2 points though.
Last time out, so
yeah. Big up DJ Mario. I mean, he could do it again. He could double his points there. He needs to gain 6 positions.
So Furian here, controlling the formation lap, and he gets to choose the pace on this one. It's up to him how quickly or slowly he goes.
Why is there such a gap though?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was about to say the cars behind aren't allowed to drop back too far, but Charles is a long way back. You got Bog relatively close. I believe it's Bog who's lapping behind Furian at the moment, but Charles has dropped a long way back. Unfortunately, I don't think on the game you receive a penalty for such an action, but in real life you'd have to be careful about that.
Yeah, but since everyone has dropped back, I think it would be fine.
Yeah, it should be all right. They all hope that their tires are warm, their brakes are warm, and crucially, their engines are not warm. Also, some of these guys might have driving gloves, some of these guys will not. It's all personal preference as to what helps you grip the wheel the best. Of course,
some people might not even have a wheel.
Some of them might not have a wheel. Of course, there's nothing that says you have to. They could well be using a control pad. So,
pad could be more quick, but let's start the race.
The red lights come on, the engine revs rise, and so does the tension. When will they go out? Furian pulls away from the line. How is his start? It's pretty reasonable. It's the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc who's coming under threat from Bog. Bog's going to send it down the inside, goes massively deep. And then it's the Ferrari, huge kick of oversteer next, and Bog's off in the grass. He's decided to go gardening instead of racing. as John attempts to run it around the outside. There's a little bit of carbon fiber in the background there. Charles is just about going to hold on from John as the rest of the field begins to file through, and Bog fortunately has continued running. That was an action-packed start, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I told you people were going to lose positions. We have Bog... Wait, I said Bog P2. No, did I?
Yeah, you said Bog was going to get on the
well, well, that's clown moment, isn't
and
it?
we've got a virtual safety car. There was an incident involving one of the Red Bulls, I believe, potentially 5-7 at the back of the field, that obviously has resulted. We saw a little bit of debris flying initially, so the marshals will get out, clear that up, and I believe there was a second incident at the back of the field.
Since the no assist race on this track, I would be very happy whenever I see a virtual in front of the safety car.
yeah. I saw the yellows come off. I was like, oh no, not again.
Not like
anyone who doesn't know, we did a no assist league on Monday, and the safety car bug came back to bite us. Came back for more. Of course, it interacted with that race at Austria, and then we again had to cancel the race on Monday. But fortunately, we are green racing again at Kota. Furian's already got 1.6 seconds over his rivals. It's the two Mercedes that you need to watch out for. As Cosman down the inside of Miku Hun. Miku is going to come under threat from the Toro Rossos now. That's Handicap right up behind him. You'll have to be careful. He's also looking down the inside of Cosman. They might be three abreast. There's contact
the wing.
Turn 1. The front wing of that Toro Rosso is definitely going to be damaged as the two Mercedes continue to fight through turn 2. Neck and neck, side pod to side pod. Who's going to gain the advantage there? It's just about going to be Miku as Cosman's forced to file in behind.
Wow, the Handicap is definitely not going to be happy about that one. It seemed like, for some reason, the Mercedes turned in to the left of him and just smashed his wing.
I'm not sure the Mercedes would have been fully aware that Handicap was even there. They were so locked in the battle between each other where the Silver Arrows, you might not have noticed the Scuderia Toro Rosso behind you.
Yeah, that's so rough for Handicap. He had a chance to overtake both.
It's definitely beginning to hurt him as that wing damage. He's dropped off the back of Cosman a little bit and is now having to defend from the cars behind. But it's the two Mercedes who are very, very close still. Into turn number 12. Who's going to get the better run out? It's just about even. They both avoid the outside curb, and it's not going to be quite close enough for Cosman. You can see overtakes through the stadium section as you try and stuff it down the inside, because the line through there is so wide and flowing that if you just put it on the inside and stop, they can't go around you because they're already on the outside. They can't turn in because that's where you are. It's very, very easy to make an overtake there. Cosman then right on the back. He goes deep through the penultimate corner as Furian sets the fastest lap of the race. Cosman's going to be right on the tail of his teammate here. DRS is enabled. He's so close to the back of his teammate out of the final corner. Didn't even lose any time on the throttle. He's going to be in front when they get to the braking zone. Will he go deep? No, his teammate tries to get the cutback, but it's not quite going to work out, and Cosman gains a place.
Oh, DJ Mario almost getting the overtake. Not quite though. He's P9 though, so that is the points that I said he needed. He started P15 and he will double his points if he manages to keep his position. Almost overtaking Milan as well.
Yeah, and of course, down in that part of the championship, the points are so important because you're fighting over potentially 5 or 6 points come the end of the season. So if you can pick up 2, that can be huge.
Yeah, definitely for the midfield. But, oh, wait. Let's see here. Jon is very, very close to Charles Leclerc. Might even be able to overtake him.
Yeah, Charles has fallen back away from Furian. Now he's under pressure from the second Ferrari. John's on the outside. Will he be able to run it all the way around? Yes, he will. That was a remarkable overtake. He's going to check up Charles in the braking zone. If Charles wants to fight this position, if he wants it back, he's going to have to do it immediately. And he's going to go well wide through turn 15, and that's going to cost him the position you would anticipate.
Yeah, and two McLarens are now in P1 and P2.
Yeah, it's a 1-2 for McLaren, which by my calculation would give them 45 points. If McLaren were to gain 45 points, they would lead the championship. As Charles is off. He was pushing too hard into the penultimate corner. Goes very, very deep. I'm not quite sure what happened there. And he plummets down the order to 12. I was too busy looking at my stat sheet, too busy doing maths. And as I've looked away, Ferrari from 3rd place down to 12th. He's into the pits, presumably has some pretty large damage from that shunt as well.
I mean, if you remove the first two numbers in their positions, they are still P1 and P2.
Yeah, the Ferrari's lapping in 11th and 12th. 10 positions down on McLaren, who are looking like the guys to make the big gains here. The other team to watch are Mercedes, running around in 4th and 5th at the moment. And they're in that battle for 3rd. So with a 4th and 5th, they could really close in on the Toro Rosso team.
Yeah, definitely. But the Toro Rosso?
Yeah, Toro Rosso.
Yeah, in the standings.
3rd position. Yeah.
Oh, they are. Did Bloth didn't start this race now, did he though?
No, he did not, and he's 2
So
laps down.
Only on the handicap then, and he is under pressure from Milan right now.
Yeah, Milan is looking down the inside with the DRS. It's going to seem somewhat inevitable, a little bit futile for Handicap to fight this one, you would think. He's just got to make sure that he stays within DRS, because as long as he's got the DRS there, not only can he try and make the overtake back, but he won't be under threat from the battle behind him, where DJ Mario sending it down the inside, a place where you don't often see an overtake, into turn number 13. He's sideways on the exit of 15. He's going to come under pressure through the rights. He's wide of apex at the first one, but nice through the second and the third. He's just about going to hold that one. He was on the edge there trying to get that overtake done. And this battle, which was previously a battle for 6th and 7th, and then a battle for 8th and 9th, is becoming one large train as Bear Wilsman also closes up onto the back of it.
Yeah, and the Whiskey getting a 5-second penalty there.
Yeah, he's got 8
so
seconds penalty.
in the pit he goes as well. So there's some hard racing right now for P8 between DJ Mario and CRB.
Yeah, DJ Mario very, very defensive through a section where you wouldn't anticipate a move being possible, but don't count out CRB from trying the impossible. He's one to try the flamboyant move. If he sees a gap, he's going to be sticking his car right in it. That's a huge amount of curve from DJ Mario there. All 4 wheels were off the track at one point. You can't do that too many times, else he will pick up a time penalty. He's got away with it that time, and it has put him just within DRS of Handicap, who is then also just within DRS of Milan. So it's Milan who might be under threat here. The Williams in 6th position. He's not quite going to go defensive. He's just holding it on the racing line. That is a mistake that you too often see. The drivers start to go defensive too early, and it just costs you time.
I must say, while we watch this battle, let's keep in mind that the Handicap's right wing is almost completely gone. He has not fixed that yet.
No, he's not fixed it, and potentially he will look to pit a little bit earlier. Obviously, normally that would be to gain an undercut, but with that amount of damage, you won't be looking to get an undercut. Instead, he'll come in and look to change the wing as quickly as possible, but without having to do 2 pit stops. And that's what we're going to see here. Lap number 6, Handicap is the first guy to really pit, and that's one of the Mercedes up in front of him as well. That's Cosmin coming into the pits. He was right up there in the top 5. So, Cosmin and off the mediums, which would imply some off-screen contact if you're coming in that early. What tire is Handicap going onto? He's also going onto a set of the yellow-walled medium tire. He gets his wing change, and that's going to drop him right down the order.
Can the mediums go all the way though? I do not know. I doubt it, but we'll have to see.
I think you could push the mediums all the way. Interestingly, Cosmin came in and is put on a set of the mediums, so he's in 10th. I'm not sure who he was looking to get the undercut on, but he's got a little bit of clean air, 2.4 seconds up to Davey Lee TV in the Renault, so he should be looking to make some decent progress here.
If the drivers can take the mediums to the end, then 5-7 and Charles Leclerc are not looking too good on the hards right now.
No, that is for sure. It's going to be tricky if you're on the hard tire.
We've never seen DJ Mario this high up, by the way. He's currently P7 now. He was P6, but CRB.
Did he lead the race at one point in Austria?
Sure, did he?
He was high up the order at one point, I think, because he was quite late to pit.
Maybe he was actually. But like, he hasn't pitted yet, but he's definitely not late to pit. There's only been 7 laps.
Yeah, and he's very, very fortunate there. The Haas behind him got completely sideways as if he was rallying out of turn 15. It's proving a tricky one to get the power down at. And that's just given him a little bit of breathing space. CRB now 1.1 seconds back. He won't have the DRS down the straight as Mikahun, the second of the Mercedes is going to pit, so he's covering his teammate, you've got to remember. Cosman and Mika Hanen were right in a battle as Charles Leclerc picks up a penalty. That's not good. But the two Mercedes locked in a battle. Cosman came in. That's forced Mika Hanen to come and try and cover him, but he is going to leave the pits behind Cosman, so that's not worked out.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the two Williams have overtaken Furian since he went into the pits. So they're now P2 and P3, and John still hasn't pitted either, so Furian could potentially gain a lot of time from this.
Yeah, he's only 4/10 off of Milan in front of him. He's right there. He might just make the move down the back straight. I mean, already made his pit stop. He's 11 seconds off the lead, 12 seconds off the lead. So that's...
And he gets DRS.
Crazy. He's got the DRS, passes Milan as Milan leaves the session, which is a little bit unfortunate, but he had the move done anyway.
Yeah, wouldn't have made a
Furian
difference.
Is playing an absolute blinder so far. 21 laps to go. Furian looks like the man with a plan.
He's just shredding right now, to be honest. I mean, overtaking the guy in third place immediately after pitting. And DJ Mario overtakes him as well, but that makes a lot of sense considering he left the session. And CRB, oh, he goes for a massive dive bomb, goes past both DJ Mario and Milan, but DJ Mario gets a position back almost immediately. They have been fighting for the whole race, just trading positions.
Yeah, and Mika Hanen picks up a 3-second time penalty, which is really not what he needed. He's battling Davey Lee TV, must have exceeded track limits at some point. That's a whole waft of penalties coming. I'm struggling to keep up with these. But Mika Hanen, he was battling Cosman on track. Of course, Davey Lee TV in the middle of that one too. 3-second time penalty. It doesn't drop him back a place yet, but he's no longer fighting for 8th.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to wonder, when will the last two people in the top pit? Because surely they have to pit soon, considering so many other people have pitted. The tires can't last for much longer.
Yeah, the tires can't last forever. There is obviously some amount of time to be gained by just staying out, making sure you have fresh tires come the end of the race's handicap.
Ooh.
Picks up a 3-second time penalty as well.
Did he repair his wing though? Surely
Whiskey
he did.
picks up another one. This track
He did.
got lots of runoff, which means you can try a move and there's potentially a few less consequences, but the guy's pushing it a little bit too far at the moment, it would seem.
Yeah, but it's also a very easy track to get a lot of penalties on, because you think you can go for things that you really can't go for.
Yeah, we saw it in the no assists race as well. There was laps being invalidated from the really, really quick drivers when they just weren't expecting to have the lap invalidated.
Yeah. Right now, poor Milan, who disconnected from the session, is just getting overtaken by everyone, and he was up into P5 or something, so...
Yeah, and Danny Lanfear
man.
is going to pit from 2nd position. That's puts Furian up into 2nd with only his teammate up ahead of him. Cosman, well, picks up a 3-second time penalty. Now Mika is actually fighting Cosman on track because they've both got 3 seconds worth of penalties.
Yeah, that's usually what happens. The further the race goes on, the penalties start to cancel out each other.
Yeah, so the question that pretty much the entire field will be asking now is, when will John pit? You lose 18 to 19 seconds in the pits here, depending on obviously how quick you are coming into the pits and if the pit stop goes as smoothly as you would hope. But John at the moment, he's got 17 seconds over DJ Mario, 18.8 over CRB, so if he was to pit now, he would come up right in that battle for 3rd position. But he might be trying to just eke out of the 2nd, which if he can manage, he would come out P2, which would be ideal.
Also, Danny Lanfear choosing the softs instead of the mediums after pitting, so he's gonna do a 2-stop here. For sure. He has to.
Yeah, that's an interesting strategy from Danny. And he's in a lot of traffic as well, is the awkward bit. He's got the soft tire on, which will allow him to try and close up the gap. 1.2 off the back of Bear Wilsman, but you'll get to the back of Bear Wilsman, lose half a lap at least until you can overtake the Ferrari, close up onto CRB, lose another half a lap, and you very quickly see the working window of those tires just disappear.
Yeah.
John comes into the pits then. Pitting from the lead is the McLaren. This is really, really important. Well, really come out. DJ Mario already on the pit straight. He's going to drop in behind DJ Mario, you would expect. There's John exiting pits now. He's going to be right in the battle with Bear Wilsman and Danny Lanfear as Danny Lanfear gets it down the inside of the Ferrari. I'd say that's gone just about as well as John could have hoped. Positions 4 and 5 held themselves up a little bit in the battle, and that allowed John to get out with a little bit of a gap to the Williams behind.
Yeah, I mean, DJ Mario really wants this P2 because he's the only one in the top who has not pitted yet. Even though it says he has 0 laps on his soft, he definitely has more than that, and he has not decided to go into the pits yet.
Yeah, he's got 9 laps on that set of soft tires as DJ Mario.
Yeah, but it works.
That's about as many as you'd feel confident doing. I think you could eke out 11 or 12, potentially 13, but he'll be beginning to lose the grip on those.
Yeah, John overtakes him.
A relatively simple pass. DJ Mario just couldn't get the power down onto the back straight, and then the DRS popped open for the McLaren. It was a done deal from there. DJ Mario's
definitely.
mirrors now instantly full of white and blue of Williams as well, so he could be losing another one before too long. He won't have the stopping power in those, so there could be a move available, and the Williams closes right up through the slow left-hander. He's going to get much better traction. Looks to the outside of the triple rights. That's not going to work. Now he's on the inside. He's just got so much more grip in those tires. But that puts him on the outside again for turn 19. Turn 20, he's going to finally make it his way to the inside. But he's not quite close enough, or is he? Sends it down on the brakes. It's going to give him a 3-second time penalty. I think he just got caught out by how early the Alfa Romeo had to brake there. He filed him behind as the Mercedes of Mika now instantly trying to capitalize. Instantly down the inside of the Alpha. He's now fighting the Williams of Danny on track. He needs to stay with them, and he's going to do that. Gets them done into turn 1. That was huge. Danny caught out on the brakes. He filed in behind the Alpha, pressed on the brakes. The Alpha was already slowing, had to get out of the way, and it put him off the track.
Surely he's gonna pit this lap. I mean, he's just losing positions and time right now. Cosmin is soon to overtake him as well here. They're just going faster. Unless he pits.
The concept with this kind of strategy, is if you stay out a little bit longer, the other guys catch you, and then there's a chance that you hold them up, and then you come out on the quick tires, and they're not as far up the road as they should be because you held them up, so you can close in. What's happening at the moment, however, is DJ Mario is just getting overtaken in the DRS zones, and he's not getting a chance to fight with the cars at all.
Yeah,
as the Mercedes of Cosman now makes an arbitrary move, to be honest. That was very easy for the Silver Arrow.
Yeah, and Charles Leclerc could do the same thing as well, unless he pits real soon, because he just can't go as fast. He can't brake as early.
Charles is on 7-lap-old hards, so the pace overlap there won't quite be as large as it would have been beforehand, but it will still be in the Ferrari's favor.
Yeah, definitely. He is quite far away though.
Yeah, he's 6.3 off the back, and now DJ comes into the pit. He'll probably put on a set of mediums here, and you can tell that hold up, stay out long, hold up the pack strategy was potentially his attempt. That's what he was trying to do, but it didn't work out. Of course, this strategy, whilst obviously it's existed for a long time, it was Kamui Kobayashi who saw a lot of success with it during the 2010, 11, 12 seasons. He'd stay out for a long time on tracks like Valencia and Monaco that are hard to overtake at, and then come out through the last, 5-6 laps on a set of essentially the super soft, the softest tire you could get. And then because of the difference in tire overlap, he'd be able to make those overtakes that the rest of the field couldn't make on him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is a track we can overtake quite easily, so won't have as good of an effect.
Not an ideal strategy to pull at somewhere like this. This is definitely a more side-by-side, wheel-to-wheel kind of track than your Valencia.
Yeah, and right now the battle for 6th is definitely the closest battle right now with handicap Charles Leclerc and the SLR Dragon.
Yeah, they're 3-way 4P6. The Haskell is right up the DRS, but it isn't quite close enough to have a go. And this is going to be an interesting one as far as grip goes, because it's going to come to Charles. He's got the hard tyre on at the moment, and that won't be as quick as the mediums at this stage. But as the race goes on, as those mediums go off, the hards just won't. They'll stay, I'm going to say fresh, although obviously they will be 20-something laps old by the end of this race. But they will be much less ice rinkish than the cars behind. And Handicap's tires slightly fresher than Dragon's in front of him, so they're all closing up at the moment. As that's a big, big error from Charles. He's going to get right up over that curb and just be too aggressive on the power. Like, instantly gives the position to the Haas. It may well give it to Handicap under braking as well. He's going to have the inside line. He's got the high ground, but the Ferrari runs it out. He hangs it out to dry, stays up, gives plenty of racing room, and he's going to be able to hold that into 2. Can SLR Dragon gap Charles? That's the question on his mind at the moment. They've both got penalties. Dragon notably has got 6 seconds of penalties, whilst Charles only has 3. So Dragon really does need to put some distance between himself and the Ferrari. And now he's got 9 seconds worth of penalties, so he needs even more time.
And his tires are 11 laps old, so he will have to pit again. Guaranteed. He can't go to the end on this, he's gonna lose too much time. So he's not in as great of a position as it may seem right now up there in P6.
Yeah, he must have had to pit because of some incidents on, I believe, lap 1 he would have come in at the end of. So as he tries it down the inside of Charles, it's not quite there, is it? Charles is going to hold it into turn at number 13, and then he gets a nice run through 14. So that's gone well for the Ferrari driver. He's gained it back after his mistake.
Yeah, and the Handicap is trying so hard to capitalize on the moves that Charles Leclerc is trying to make here, but he just can't get the same pace for some reason. He can't pass him.
Yeah, you've got to remember that whilst Handicap gets the advantage of a double strip stream, he also gets the disadvantage of having double dirty air through the corners. So that's really not a great situation. But this is where you want to be behind the 2 of them. You get so much more speed up into the turn number 1. And nobody's quite close enough. I don't think the guys behind Charles got quite so good exits as he did. And it just fanned them out initially, and then the slipstream and DRS acted to close up that initial spacing.
Yeah, but he's closing in more and more for each lap, and then all of a sudden he just loses it, and like it's been like that for a couple of laps now. They're racing so close, but no one seems to be able to break away.
Yeah, it's remarkable that through that twisty sector, the fast-flowing bit that Daniel Ricciardo says wants to throw you out of the car, that's how aggressive it is there, they're all able to hold together. They're not losing too much downforce through it, and they're all just sticking on each other's gearbox, and they're really close together as they come onto the back straight. Ferrari gets a good exit, but now the DRS, the back wing, flips open. Ole rushes through it at liters and liters per second. And again, not quite close enough. They file back into formation, line astern, and carry on with their jobs.
Yeah, meanwhile, I think no, surely not, right? Yeah, I think he did, actually. Cosman may have overtaken Mikkohun in the meantime.
Yeah, so that's definitely pretty advantageous for Cosman. These guys are fighting on track. Both of them have 3-second time penalties. And now Mika picks up an additional 3 seconds. So that puts him 3.7 effectively off the back of his teammate. And whilst he's not under threat from this battle for 6th, you'd expect that to be a done deal unless Cosman picks up some further penalties.
Yeah, he's gonna have to pit again as well, so not looking ideal for him. But I think his target right now is to stay ahead of Charles Leclerc and keep the P5.
Yeah, you need to keep the gap to Charles. Charles has 3 seconds worth of time penalties, so he's got a few seconds. Mika's got 3 seconds that he would need to maintain over Charles, and at the moment he's doing that and then some. So he's not got too much to worry about from there. And this battle for 6th, just spacing out a little bit on this lap. Nobody quite able to match the guy in front of them through Sector 1, and that might just give Charles a little bit of respite. He's got 7 tenths instead of 2 tenths as they'll come onto the back straight, and that could be huge.
Yeah, and right now, I think everyone will be fine to not have to pit again, except for Dragon, Charles Leclerc, possibly, probably not, he'll be fine, but Dragon and Mikkohun, they will have to pit again. The other guys I think might be fine for the rest of the race.
Lord P the Viper is going to have to go a long way on that set of
in the
mediums.
P10, the P10.
Ah, yeah, okay. In the top 10, yeah, for sure. I think further down the order, there's a few guys who will have to do something for sure. As Charles now picks up an additional 3 seconds worth of penalties, that puts him to the back of this group. They were all equal. They were fighting on track. Now, he needs to put some air. He needs to put, well, more than 7 tenths in it, because that's the maximum it's been over the past few laps. He gets a reasonable exit. Unfortunately for him, handicap seems to just be harassing, just having a look, a little bit of a hassling at the back of that Haskar, and that could give him the free air that he needs.
How is Furion pulling away so hard? No one is even
Just gotten
close.
pace.
Yeah, obviously, but like, mad. 13 seconds ahead of the guy in P2.
He's now
Like-
16 as John picked up a penalty. John is now actually lapping in P3 behind Danny, I believe. Actually, no, he's not. They are fighting on track. Sorry, my bad. I misread my notes. So yeah, John and Danny now fighting on track. Previously, John was pretty comfortable in terms of his gap because Danny had a penalty, but now they're racing and there's a virtual safety car. I'm trying to spot who that could be for. I'm not entirely sure. Did you see anything?
No. It could potentially be someone who's crashed and then got back on track.
Yeah,
That's why we
potentially.
can't see
Just
it
give the
right now.
marshals a chance to clear something up.
Yeah.
It's unlikely to be something along the lines of an engine failure, as Whiskey picks up another 3 seconds of time penalties. Would you like to guess how many seconds Whiskey has?
It's gone now, but 12 probably. Or 9.
Yeah.
12 or 9.
He's got 14.
14.
14 seconds.
Did he get a
penalty.
5-second penalty once?
He did. He got a 5-second penalty around about
right.
lap number 5 and had 3 seconds before that. So it's been downhill for Whiskey throughout this race.
Yeah, definitely. Also, Danny Lanfear lost a lot of time during the safety car, virtual safety car. He was 1.7 seconds behind John, now he's 4.7.
Yeah, and we mentioned it before. There's a real skill to driving under the virtual safety car conditions. They get given a lap time delta, and if you can really match it and the guy behind you just brakes at the wrong time and ends up a second off it as you come into the green flag racing time, you lose a lot of time without realizing.
Yeah, and Handicap has overtaken Dragon. I might have done that a while ago, I didn't quite spot it, but they're still the closest battle on track right now.
Yeah,
They're
and
still
Cosman picks
keeping
up a
close.
penalty, which puts him racing on track with Mika. They're still separated by almost 4 seconds. We anticipate Mika having to make another pit stop, which is an ideal handicap. He's dropped over a second off the back of Charles, and as we've mentioned time and time again, 1 second, that's the magic number, that's the magic gap. So if he wants to have a chance of defending from SLR, and of course overtaking the Ferrari in front of him, he's going to need to close in Charles Leclerc so he can have the DRS.
Lord P the Viber has in fact spun. No virtual safety car, just a yellow flag, but he's gonna lose 2 positions from that. Or 3 even.
Yeah,
That's
that's not
not
gone
ideal.
well for Viber. He's already looking a little bit unfortunate. He's got to pit again, we anticipate, due to his early shenanigans. And as his tires get older and he loses the grip, he's lost the rear end.
Do you think that the full black Renault livery looks better than the one they opted for?
I like the full black Renault livery. I think it suits the narrow nose they got on their car. Like, I don't think it would have worked with last year's car. I'll have to wait to see until we see the yellow one on track, as Mika now makes his pit stop, as does Charles as well. So both of those guys pitting, they'll come out in the top 10, I believe, still. So they'll have some ground to make up for big points, but they're still scoring points. But yeah, I want to see the yellow one on track. You can't deny that black livery.
Yeah.
It did look nice, didn't it?
Yeah, Alfa Romeo's black livery also looked really nice in my opinion. A bit more detailed, but I understand why they opted for the normal one, both of them, because they wanna keep the consistency. Like, people refer to Renault as yellow and black, not just black.
Yeah, Renault did a cool thing with their livery, I believe it was a couple of years ago now, where they had a very perspective-based livery. So if you looked at it from the top or the side, anywhere in the middle, then it was yellow and black. If you looked at it from the front, the car was yellow. If you looked at it from the back, the car was all black, and I think that was really, really clever.
Which year was this?
It was either 2018 or last year, but I can't remember.
Yeah, okay. Gonna have to look that up then. But like, if we look at the 2020 cars, which obviously won't race until the 3rd of July, which of those liveries do you think is the best looking?
Oh, that's a tricky one. That is a tricky. I like the AlphaTauri livery. I think it's a nice kind of a facelift for that team.
I agree.
I think it's really simple as well. The white and black with the bull on it. It's a really
Isn't
nice.
it white and dark blue?
Yeah, white and dark blue. Sorry, my eyesight's not good enough to see that. As Daniel Lanfear is gonna make up some positions after his pit stop. He's got fresh softs on. He's only 2 seconds off the back of handicap. I'd keep an eye on him.
Yeah,
handicap. The rest of the guys, I don't know. I think I'd like to see a Ferrari livery with more white on it again. As now Danny picks up a 3-second time penalty. All that hard work, that's gone down the drain pretty quickly. I'd like to see a Ferrari livery with more white on it, or potentially the Italian flag a bit more like he used to have.
I think the black looks better on the Ferrari. At least in my opinion. I don't like. I don't know. Don't like the. For me, if we're gonna have white and red, you need to have a lot of both, because otherwise I think black just looks a lot better in my opinion. At least.
That's fair. I don't know. It's hard to think of other liveries. If you're talking about liveries in general, Jordan.
Yeah.
Just all of the Jordan liveries.
Yeah.
I really like the Jordan liveries, and also Benetton. The couple years Schumacher was out there, I think Benetton had some really nice liveries over the years.
I think, like, I wish there was a rule, and like this is kind of unrealistic, but I reckon most people would maybe. I don't know, maybe they wouldn't, but if they would make a rule that says that they have to change the livery like every year, quite remarkable.
Okay, yeah, I mean.
It wouldn't work, but it would be fun. Yeah. It wouldn't work, but it would be a lot of fun, I think. Seeing what they would come up with.
Picked up a 10-second time penalty. He's in the pits, so I believe he will serve that there and then. But,
Let's see.
Yeah, he was
No, he didn't. He actually just pitted.
Okay, so he's picked up 10 penalties to be served at the end of the race. Charles has come out on a fresh set of mediums to set the fastest lap of the race. Handicap's put on a fresh set of softs to try and do the final 8 laps. So there's a little bit of life in this race yet. There's a pair of soft runners.
10 seconds penalty. Well, why? What happened?
I didn't catch it. I just saw it at the end. I was too busy looking into my own head and figure out what my favorite livery is. And if I come to my conclusion. Okay. If you've not heard of this, go and search BMW Art Car on Google. Obviously after this broadcast. BMW Art Car is a series that they did for Le Mans, where they got famous artists to paint the car. That was the whole thing. So it's actual artists, I can't remember any off the top of my head because I'm an idiot, who have painted the cars, and then they've gone out and raced with genuine art on them, and it's really, really clever. There's no sponsors or any of that. It's a charity concept, and it's been going on for a few years, and I think they have the best liveries in Rochester.
Yeah, I mean, you would kind of hope so if there's artists painting them.
Yeah, so your top 3 have all fanned out. You got Furion is 11 seconds ahead of Cosman, who's 11 seconds ahead of John, who's 11 seconds ahead of Cosman, who's 11 seconds ahead of Danny. You then
I got
get
2 out of 3 though. You asked me in the beginning who I thought would be in the top 3, and Bog, who has retired, was the only one who I got wrong, because both Cosmin and Furion, who I predicted, is in the top 3.
You think it's all over? That's brave. You got almost a third of this race left.
Yeah,
brave call from Edwin.
I mean, 11 seconds. Yeah, if they crash.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Will they?
Well, some of these guys, the tires are going to be pretty old by the time they reach the end of the race.
Yeah, that's true.
Dragon picks up another time penalty. He's got 12 seconds now. But
I don't necessarily think
it's pretty
over.
early to make sure that he didn't get caught out. So his mediums have done 14 laps. They've got 8 laps to go. Those will be 22-lap-old tires by the end of the race. He's got to be careful.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily over, but I struggle to see Danny Lanfear breaking into the top
Mikahan, sorry to interrupt. Mikahan goes down the inside of CRV. He had to fight his way through on that one. Very, very aggressive defense from the half, pushing him all the way off the track almost, but just left enough room for 2 tires to stay on the road. That's all the Mercedes needed as he got a deep turn number 15. That's going to allow the Haas to fight back. He's going to be on the outside of the triple rights. Can he brake early, get on the power, accelerate through? They're so close together as they come through the 180-degree right-hander. That's just about going to be job done for Mercedes, I think. Can the Haas fight back with the DRS, they turn through the final corner, pass 5/10, only half a second off of the back of the Mercedes. DRS pops open, he's got the straight line speed, he's going to be close into the braking zone, but I don't think it's quite going to be enough, and then you'd anticipate him to drop back through this flowing first sector. Handicap, set fastest lap of the race and all that, so he's only 1.3 off the back of Charles, but you got to remember the Handicap has 13 seconds worth of penalties.
So does Dragon though, doesn't he?
Dragon has 12 seconds worth of penalties, so as it stands, Dragon needs to maintain 1 second within Handicap, and he'll pick a position potentially, depending on how close the cars behind both of those guys get. I was looking at the time screens, and it's 12.6 back to 11th, so that could all change yet. But Handicap and Dragon are fighting on track, and very, very close together. The gap's oscillating between 0.9 and 1 second. So with 1 second in it, it could be close coming to the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely. And as I was saying before I said that maybe the top three, you know, it's not over yet, but I mean they're pulling away even further from each other.
Yeah, they just keep putting the gap in his risky gets.
The top three is
when he gets
very quick.
Time penalty. Yeah, the top three, they've got the pace on the rest of the field, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. And it's sad because, like, we didn't even get to see Bloth or Titan Taylor. They just immediately first lap one was DNFs. Like, that's sad to see.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough, and we didn't expect this from qualifying either. Furion was quite clearly the class of the field. But Cosmin, John, Danny, they were all very close in terms of absolute pace, and then they've just gapped each other come the race. They've on fuel loads and full tanks, and with tire degradation, it just seems like they've not quite been able to match one another.
But I mean, think about it though. If someone who goes 0.5 seconds faster every single race, every single lap, I mean, can do 23 laps without being interrupted, after a while he will break away, like about the same time that Furion has gained on.
Yeah, he's gained almost exactly half a second a lap.
Okay, I made sense then, because I wasn't sure I made any sense there.
Yeah, it made perfect sense. You very eloquent. But yeah, the one for me that surprised me is the gap between John and Cosmin. I expected those two to be a little bit closer. Handicap battling Charles Leclerc. Charles was off the track for a moment. He's still down the inside of Handicap, but Handy's gonna have the inside through the left-hander at 15. Charles is looking for the cutback. Can he gain it? It's something you can do. Almost contact between the two of them as exit, as the Ferrari swooped across the track. But he's going to have to file in behind there, and that's another little bit put in for Handicap. Also, he doesn't have the place on track over Charles due to his penalties. Picks up another 3 penalties.
Oh, no.
I was about to say, it gives him the advantage over SLR, because SLR will lose time behind the Ferrari. But he might not lose another 3 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's not very ideal for him. Just as he gets to overtake, he almost loses it immediately. I mean, he keeps the position, but Charles Leclerc doesn't need to overtake this.
Yeah,
might do it anyway, but he doesn't have to.
Andy Bloth and I, we started a podcast this week as another flurry of penalties came in. Did you catch who the first one of those was? Oh,
no.
Another one. They just keep stacking up. Right, okay. Handy and Bloth and I, we started a podcast. It's called the Formation Chat, the podcast. This week we looked at, obviously, the Ferrari news. We also took a look at MotoGP, Valentino Rossi, and an esports series that we liked. And you should definitely check that out. I think it's pretty good.
I mean, I still don't know how to rate it. I tried.
On Spotify?
Yeah, I asked that. I think I wrote in the chat, the general chat, like 4 times. How do I rate it? But no one knew.
I think you can rate on Google Podcasts. I think you might be able to rate on Apple as well, but I think on Spotify you just follow.
Oh, that's sad.
Because
I generally tried to find it.
Whiskey must be close to getting disqualified here. He's got.
How many do you need to get disqualified?
I'm not sure, but he has 23 seconds.
Yeah, that's the Ragunatan tier
As
penalties.
we enter virtual safety car conditions, and that's for one of the Williams. One of the Williams went off at turn number 15. I'm not entirely sure who that was. I believe it was Firo Milan. So that's not gone well for the Williams driver. He was there or thereabouts on very, very old hard tires, so that potentially come back to bite him. But
Yeah.
it was definitely him who was going slowly.
I mean, most likely the tires that looks really good on the Williams because it matches the car, but just like they're too old right now for him to gain any pace. But he still should be able to get P10 because Dragon's penalties.
Yeah, it's definitely on for Milan for P10.
Wait, I need to check
Dragon has a lot
interval.
of penalties.
Yeah.
But the battle to watch on track at the moment, P6. It's a different battle, a different group to what we had before, but they're all coming together. They're all beginning to congregate. They want to give us a last lap showdown, so they do. You got CRV in the Haas, P6. Then it's the yellow of Renault, Davy Lee TV 7th, and handicap. He might have a lot of penalties, but he's trying to put distance between himself and Charles, and distance between himself and Dragon. As Lord P the Viber picks up another penalty. So this battle, 6th position. They're all so close together. Handicap, he's got fresh soft tyres on. He's got the faster tyre, and he's 10 laps younger than the two in front of him. He's so close through turn number 18. Will he be close enough to try it into the final quarter potentially? He's going to take a look. Pulls out the slipstream. He's on the inside. He picked up a little bit of damage here earlier, but he's going to get it done there. DRS pops open. Will he be able to get 2 in 2 corners? He's not quite close enough to CRV, but he's not under pressure from behind you. He goes deep at turn number 1 a little bit, gets it turned in though. Not quite on the power as early as he'd hoped, but nothing too untoward. He's so close to the back of the Haas. He'll be able to get the blueprints for the diffuser CRV.
No.
CRV picks up a penalty. That's not ideal for CRV. That's going to put him right under threat. But all the guys around him also have penalties. His handicap gets so close through turn number 9. He might have a look into turn 11 here. He's going to be close enough on the brakes. His tyres will be able to stop him so much later. He's not good enough there, but he gets the traction. He gets the power. They pull across the Haas, trying to break the slipstream, trying to prevent the extra top speed from the Toro Rosso. Blue Toro Rosso, however, is all he's going to be able to see in his peripheral vision as he pulls alongside. Can he get it stopped down the hill? Yes, he can. Charles Leclerc, meanwhile, also getting involved in this battle. He's managed to get past Davy Lee TV during all of that. And now it's the Ferrari that CRB has to defend from. Charles, 6 seconds of penalties. Haas, 3 seconds of penalties. So they're not fighting on track. But Charles does have significantly fresher tyres. So if he could get by into turn 1, you wouldn't put it past him being able to gap the Haas by 3 seconds coming into this race.
Yeah, I mean, is it like if the race were to end now, where would the handicap end up?
He's got 16 seconds worth of penalties, so P10 potentially.
Yeah, I mean, that is points at least, and he has to
It
pass
depends
lap,
on
I believe.
what the penalties of the guys behind him are as well. However, as Charles gets it down the inside of CRB, but CRB's going to have the inside as they enter the twisty section. This one can't possibly end well. This still neck and neck, wing mirror to wing mirror. How are they managing to keep it away from each other through there? CRB is going to maintain the position over Charles with a miraculous defense, to say the least, but the Ferrari will come back at him. He gets a good run, but he also gets another 3
This is
second
good for handicap.
penalty. He's going to be so close, down into turn 11, pulls out the slipstream, looks to the left. Will he go deep? No, he doesn't. He gets a tap.
He went into first gear. That's why he spun.
A tap from the Haas, for sure. The Renault also getting sideways. That's not gone well for Charles, as he then drops down the order. That's going to cost him potentially a chance at getting past SLR Dragon and handicap on penalties.
Wait, you're not supposed to go into first gear in that turn though, are you?
You're not supposed to, but you can.
Yeah, but sometimes if you went to, like, if you press the brakes too hard on the first gear, after turning, you can spin out if the corner is sharp enough. And he got a tap from the Haas, so...
Yeah, he definitely got a tap, and whilst first gear might not have helped him in keeping the car pointing in the right direction, it wasn't all just his own driver error. As now
Definitely
you've got
not.
the two Hasses running nose to tail into the final corner to begin the final lap for these guys. They're all going to be very close together, and only 2 out of 3 of them are going to have the DRS. CRB pulls across once again, aggressively cutting off the slipstream. Dragon not going for the move on his teammate as he now swoops around the outside. Is he going to have the traction? He's got the soft tire on. He gets it done where previously Charles could not. Charles is now going to start taking a look at this battle through the whole section. They have to file into line. Charles not quite going to get it done there, but he might look to do it later on in the lap. As now there's contact. CRB, there was contact with Charles. He's lost his front wing. He's ended up off the track. Charles then may well yet pinch a top 10 finish. He put a robust move, to say the least, on the Haas, but it may have worked out as Furion. We've not spoken much about him because he dominated the race. He crosses the line to win the race, 2 on the trot for the McLaren driver, and they may yet be a 1-2 as John comes out the final corner. He's in P2. He's not got enough penalties to compromise him. Cosman's going to cross the line third.
Charles Leclerc does it though, P7, he gets past Dragon. In one of the last corners of the circuit, he had to do it in that corner and he does it.
Yeah, it's an impressive move from Charles. Does he have the advantage across the line though? I believe he will. He didn't have to do that one on track. Cosman is going to complete your top 3, getting a podium for the Silver Arrows. Mika crosses the line in 4th, but loses out to Danny in terms of penalties. Then it's this battle that we were watching. Handicap crosses the line in 6th, but he's got a lot of penalties, so we'll watch with interest to see where he ends up. He loses the place to Charles, who crosses the line in 6th, who in turn loses the place to CRB, who crosses in 7th, who in turn loses out to Davey Lee TV. Davey Lee TV won't believe his luck. He was lapping way down the order. He's picked up a top 6.
The grid turned around there. Like they got reverse positions. Davey Lee was last of that pack and he ended up first.
Yeah, and we mentioned it earlier on that Handicap and Dragon were battling it out in terms of overall race time, and Dragon just about gets the top 10 position, but he didn't manage to stay close enough to the back of that Toro Rosso. What a race!
Yeah,
What
I mean,
a race!
not too much in the top, but the midfield definitely delivers about as much as it does in real F1. Super close in the midfield, not too close in the top. But I mean, you have to be impressed by the pace of the top runners this race. They were just unbeatable. So, 2 Romanian flags on the podium. You don't see that every day.
Yeah, it's an unusual one, to say
Yeah.
the least.
Do we have any interviews?
I'm just trying to see if we can set some up at the moment. We've obviously got to wait for those guys to respond, but who takes your driver of the day as such, Edwin?
I mean, it would be unfair to not say Furion. No penalties, no nothing, just clean 11 seconds in front of P2. He just bossed it, really. Not too much to say. Other than that, Davey Lee did a good job to not get any penalties either, getting P6 because of that.
Yeah, it was certainly a good one. We've got an interview with Furion lined up. I'll just have to drag him through various voice channels because the Discord. Hello, Furion. Congratulations on a race win. Did it go as planned?
Well, the qualifying went as planned, and the stint on the softs went as planned as well. I think I had a 6 or 7 second gap before I pitted. But then I came out of the pits and I touched the Williams. I don't know if you saw it, and he gave me yellow wing damage.
Oh,
After
that was why you went into the pits.
on the mediums with a yellow wing, but I had a big enough gap from the softs, so yeah, I can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, you were like 12 seconds in front of the game P2 with no penalties.
Normally on my practice race, I was driving constantly 136, and now I couldn't even go under the 137 because of the yellow wing.
Okay, but I mean, still.
But still, I'm happy. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't have to battle anyone, so I had no time loss, so I can't complain. The race was good. I'm happy.
Yeah, you lead the whole championship now, I believe.
I believe so too. I think I looked, and the first 3 guys didn't race today. And I think I'm going to have 50 points now, and I think you're right.
Yeah, 2 for 2. That's 50 points. So a well-earned championship leader, I would say.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. Next week is Canada, so I hope I can extend it just for fun.
Yeah,
Well,
Canada is a good track.
thank you very much.
Yeah,
Congratulations
thank you for.
on a good
Thank
race.
you.
And have a good
Thank-
evening. You've earned it.
Yeah, you two guys. Thanks for commentating as well. Have a good night.
Yeah. All right. Any more interviews?
Yes, I have an interview with Handicap lined up,
Oh,
so I shall
mad.
get him in momentarily. There's so many channels. I can't
Yeah.
physically drag them straight on down. Okay, here we go. Hello, Handy.
There we go.
How are you feeling?
Mix of emotions, I'll be honest.
Did you enjoy the race, though you were involved in a few battles?
Again, mix, yes and no. I'm happy with where I finished on track, which was P6. But then there's this thing called penalties, which I kind of accounted for and finished in 9th.
Yeah, you ended up with, as we calculated, 16 seconds worth of them. Of note, there was a 10-second one in there. How did you pick up that one?
10 seconds? What?
Yeah, I believe so.
I only accounted for 9. I cut corners 3 times and got 3-second time penalties for each. So
Perhaps
Well, yeah.
we saw it. We saw the wrong thing then.
Yeah, potentially.
Quite
Were
possibly.
you aware that the guys around you had a lot of penalties too when you were fighting them?
I was hoping that they had a lot of penalties. Obviously, I didn't account that they'd have none, which is what it turned out to be. What was the gap between me and the car behind when I finished? I think it was around 5 or 6 seconds. So could have gone better.
Yeah, for sure. And you were involved in potentially a little bit of contact in turn 1. Would you like to talk about
I'm not exactly sure what happened there.
that? Fair enough.
I'm not sure if they turned a little bit and I didn't account for it, but I went straight into the back of Miku, lost quite a fair bit of downforce on my front wing, and trundled around, so I forced myself into a 2-stop.
Fair enough. Well, it's good talking to you as ever, and hopefully you have a next week that goes somewhat better.
Yes, I look forward to watching back the replays and enjoying the commentary that you will most likely provide.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
That's about all we've got lined up.
Yeah, well, I mean, handicap. Is it possible that we saw wrong? Because I mean, he didn't lose
Possible
too
we
many
saw wrong.
positions. Yeah.
The thing to note, however, is that the guys around him also had a lot of penalties. So whilst
Exactly.
to him it feels like 6 seconds, the guys around him had 6 or 9 seconds each as well. So it's very possible he did in fact have 16 to 19 seconds worth of penalties.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But I mean, that should be it for us today.
Yeah, that's just about it from us. So there should be, however, I'm not sure if there actually is, there will be a race happening tonight at some point. There is the Tier 3 race, and then you will also have myself and Edwin right back with the no assists here over on twitch.tv/Delta Motor Racing on Monday at 7 p.m. for me, I believe. Is it 8 p.m. in Europe?
Yeah, I mean, Europe, yeah, it
Yes.
is.
Fantastic. So be sure to go and check that out. Monday evening, you'll get to hear our sonorous tones again. Another place you can hear my sonorous tones as well as Handy's and Blots is Formation Chat, the podcast. Search on any of your things. You'll probably find it after you've searched for a while. And with all that said, and